Hi there, welcome to the Research Rabbit Hole. I'm Cynthia Hamil, and come on in, grab some coffee, let's have a talk, okay? Tonight we're going to be talking about a heavy-duty topic and something that has been a passion of mine as far as writing and research, and we're going to cover the topic of 9/11. And this is particularly for the newbies, the people that did not realize that there was more to the story than what we were told by our mainstream news medias the day of 9/11. They have basically stuck to that story for 13 and a half years, ever since the day that 9/11 happened. In the real world, though, there are dozens and hundreds of researchers that have come along that have disclosed all sorts of findings and facts about 9/11 that have not been covered by the mainstream news press. You have to really dig. You've got to get on the internet and go through tons of rabbit holes to even get to the bottom of this truth. So first of all, let me just say, both buildings of 9/11, the World Trade Center Towers, fell in 15.5 seconds. And this is a speed that, in an algebraic equation, you have A plus B equals C. And if you have C equals 15.5 seconds, the only way that you can arrive at that destination and that length of time that it takes to, to have those buildings fall in 15.5 seconds, the only way that you can actually do that is to have A plus B equal, one of those have got to be explosives. You cannot arrive at 15.5 seconds having 110 stories of a building collapse all the way down almost at free fall speed. You cannot even go there without putting explosives into this equation. Now, and did you realize that they also found thermite in the World Trade Center dust? This is a big hello, folks. I mean, thermite is not like mixing, kitchen hair color or doing the bathroom hair color thing where you're doing a mix in the bathroom, like whipping the stuff out. We're talking, this is a military grade laboratory defense type chemical, thermite. It has a reaction where it will actually sear through steel like a hot knife through butter. And this is what you find when you watch that building fall. You will see literally cutter charges going out, all the way out that building, and it is exploding in a banana peel demolition. And the reason I say this is because I did some research on a Chinese demolition, and this is in the Research Rabbit Hole 9/11 edition. And when you pull this up, you'll actually see almost a side-by-side identical demolition of the World Trade Center Towers and this Chinese building that is falling and catapulting and literally propelling all of these explosions up and out, like almost like a fountain. So this building is exploding like a fountain and like a geyser. It's actually coming up and out. And where do we get this? Okay, first of all, you've got to realize that 9 months before 9/11 even happened, there was a huge elevator shaft renovation that was going on in not one, but both towers of the World Trade Center. This was the biggest elevator shaft renovation in the history of mankind, and these two buildings were huge. And if we go back to Jesse Ventura's video on 9/11, he will actually pull up the fact that you can paint on like thermite, and you can go into, he didn't say this on his show, but you could actually go into that elevator shaft, paint on your thermite, and that's going to have some type of major reaction when you decide to demolition that building. So all of this was going on at least 9 months before 9/11. So this was premeditated. We're talking about something that happened before the alleged planes flew into the building. In fact, in my research, I'm getting to such a deep level and layer of this that it is even questionable that we even had jets that actually hit the World Trade Center building. And why I mention this is because there were no black boxes found, folks. And I'm talking to my friends in my 9/11 Truth group who were accident investigators investigating military plane crashes all over this continent. And they are telling me that there were no black boxes found at the World Trade Center buildings in New York City on the day of 9/11 or after. It never showed up. They've never found the black boxes. So what does that tell you? It's telling me, I'm jumping to this, it's telling me that there's a possibility that there were no planes that hit that. Also, we have an issue with the Pentagon. If you look at the Pentagon has a hole that does not even include the wingspan or the tailspan of a plane that would have gone through. This is a missile hole. This thing is so small you couldn't even fly a plane through that. And that they're telling us that a plane hit that building? No freaking way. You can't have that. And then if you look at Shanksville, Pennsylvania, if you look at that and pull up the footage of that, you're going to see a hole that looks almost like a contact lens sitting in the ground about 20 feet wide. Planes are 120 feet wide. There's no plane in that hole. They're telling us that the plane was just absorbed and swallowed up by the ground. There were no plane parts found. There was a coroner that went out there that is telling us that there were no body fragments, there were no bones, there were no body parts. There were no people in that plane crash that hit in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And we really need to look at this stuff. This stuff, if all of it adds up to being completely crazy. And you got to see this story that we were told. This official story of 9/11 has nothing to do with what's actually turning up as evidence and what we're seeing in these reports. The new stuff that's coming out with architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth and all of the other researchers who've come out with things, they are bringing up some serious evidence that completely contradicts the entire official story of 9/11, every single part of it, including the fact that there are 11 out of the 19 alleged hijackers that were found still alive about 6 years after 9/11 happened.